Good evening. Welcome to the 5-8, where we discuss each of the week's 5 most fucked up topics for 8 minutes. 5 topics, 8 minutes, 2 hosts, 3 guests tonight. Some singing, a lot of curse words, and as many cocktails as we deem necessary. LB, how are you?
I'm good. I'm onto the water. I'm preparing for next week.
Okay.
Just mentally preparing myself, doing my best. But what are you having?
I'm having a Manhattan to celebrate the fact that I'm not in Manhattan, which I thought I was going to have to be. Yeah.
Also, yeah. I'm so glad you didn't have to go into the city. So it's nice to have you here.
I threw out my back today, by the way, so I'm hoping that this goes right to the lumbar region and loosens me up. So I'm a little bit elevated. So if I grimace in pain at some point during the show, it's because of my back and not the impending doom of democracy. So just so everyone's aware.
And those two things might be connected. We don't know.
They might be.
You could have thrown your back out just thinking about, Merrick Garland.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Did you hear now they're going to move the inauguration inside because it's too cold? So I think my theory is that he couldn't get mittens small enough for his tiny fingers. So he needed to move it. But apparently all the spaces in DC are already occupied. So they're going to do this at the Rockville Center Marriott. Apparently, I don't know. It's the only venue he could fill.
It's the only venue he could fill.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's in the Rotunda, right? Aren't they in the Rotunda?
You know what? I don't know, and I'm not gonna know because I ain't watching it.
I'm not watching it either. We're gonna do some counter programming. Hopefully, we'll all be together for that. We'll tell you guys about that later in the show. But who knows? All right. What do you think? Should we just?
Yeah, we should get going. We got to get to
our show tonight.
We got to get to our guests. So
okay, let's get to our guests. I love doing that. So let's do our first 2 topics.
Okay.
And then we'll get right to them.
All right.
Put
the timer.
It's on 8 minutes. You got it.
All right. So the show is called Hello Goodbye, and that's the theme. There's some hellos. There's a lot of goodbyes because this is the last Friday of whatever the before times, and it's pretty. We're making jokes about it, but what's going to happen on Monday is that we're giving the government over to Nazis. That's what's happening. And
mobsters.
Yeah. Mobsters, Nazis, combination, it's not great. And nobody in power seems to be able to figure out what's going on here. Merrick Garland, there's a lot of Merrick Garland talk and debate, on the interwebs. And Mark Elias shared this because Garland gave a farewell speech at the DOJ. And he talked a lot about this, about the norms of the DOJ, the norms that have been woven into the DNA of generations of DOJ employees. They are the commitments that ensure we will adhere not only to the letter, but to the spirit of the rule of the law. It's the obligation of each of us to follow our norms, not only when it is easy, but also when it is hard, especially when it is hard. And you go in and read the whole thing, and it's like he still hasn't figured it out. He thinks that the criticism that he's getting is because we want him to just go arrest Trump for no reason or whatever. We want him to follow the norms. We want him to do the thing that you're supposed to do, which is what you said you were going to do, which is go to the law without fear and favor and indict the people. He actually congratulated the people there because they were able to arrest so many people that stormed the Capitol that day. And, didn't arrest any of the planners, didn't even indict them, but just that. And, that's where we're at. So what's happening now? And I think Jack Smith did his job. I think Jack Smith did what he was supposed to do. He got unlucky and he got owned by this Aileen Cannon. By the way, who is she? Where did she come from? Why is there no media coverage at all about Aileen Cannon? There's the one fucking picture of her. We've not seen another picture of her. I think there's only one photo, or there's 2. There's the one where she's on Zoom, and then there's the dopey one that they always show. And don't they have is there flamenco dancing picture? Where is the top shelf? This woman has almost single-handedly rat fucked our democracy. Maybe a story in one of the papers. I don't know. And so what's going to happen on Monday is Pam Bondi, who basically for 25 grand just decided not to pursue the indictment on Trump University.
Yeah.
grand. That's it. That's all it costs. 25
She's
grand.
really cheap. I think that's why she's getting the job. She's
That's
just
why they already know she can be bought. Not only that, she could be bought cheap. Like
cheap.
in Casablanca, I don't mind a parasite. I object to a cut rate one because it all comes back to Casablanca. But she's going to be in charge of the DOJ, and Kosh Patel on his enemies list is going to be in charge of the FBI. And they're going to be what Jen Murcia, when she was on the show, calls the rule, not of law, but by law, where they're going to take the laws and they're going to weaponize them and go after their enemies. And that's what's going to happen. And Merrick Garland is going to find out because I think he's on these lists. Which
I don't think so. He's a hero. He's done nothing. Yeah, I mean, he's done nothing but cry.
He is a good crier.
So many tears talking about his ancestors. Every time a camera was on this man, he couldn't tell us or warn us about what's going on. He just had to cry that I want to drop him down into what remains of the LA fires and have him put it out. I think he's got enough tears to put out all the fires. That's what he's good for. I'm not sure.
The whole thing is just
this person.
A complete misfire. You know, just like with Biden suddenly coming on the farewell address and being like, oligarchs and misinformation might be a problem. You don't say. Wow. Nice of you to tell us 4 days before you're leaving. Great. What are we supposed to do with this information? I don't know. That's the next subject, though.
That's the next subject. I guess, I think it's going to be, I think all of these people are getting confirmed, and we'll talk about that later on as well. But in terms of the Justice Department, the rule of law, and I do think the Homeland Security piece ties into this, right? Yeah. In terms of using the existing laws. I heard a lot of that coming out of Kristi Noem. I watched a little bit of that today, and she kept talking about how there was never a family separation policy. We're following the laws that were already in place. And it was like a thing she kept coming back to, of following the laws that were there and then pivoting into, saying Joe Biden's trafficking, thousands of children, like some Kremlin garbage.
Oh, so she's just following orders. Okay.
Yeah, it's just following orders. And also, but we are going to hear that of these are the laws that exist, and we are following the laws that exist. We're just exercising them in the way that no one else had the courage or the bravado or the strength to exercise them before. And the problem with that, I think, is that it puts everything back into the camp of outrage around abuse of power. So abuse of power, any reaction to something being an abuse of power, is going to be labeled outrage, and it's going to fuel the culture war even more. This is the formula we know, because nobody will call it out as an abuse of power. An abuse of power doesn't mean you're breaking the law. It means not necessarily. It means you're taking the power that was granted to you and you're using it to abuse. You're using it in maybe in corrupt ways, but you can use it in thuggish and authoritarian ways without it being something that, certainly the Supreme Court won't come after anybody, but without losing your job in this sort of era that we're going into. And it almost feels like abuse of power and a willingness to abuse power. If you're willing to shoot your puppy, if you're willing to kill a dog, and whatever animals this woman has killed. Yeah. I know it's more than just a puppy. And write about it in your book with pride. I can't even wrap my mind around what she's willing to do to human beings that she's been given the full authority and power over to abuse. That there's already all this language of hatred. So I think she's a very dark character in this whole thing. And that's just a department and an institution, a part of our institution that, thugs have had their eyes on, of wanting to, it's like, it was in terms of like the FBI and the Department of Justice, and knowing that Donald is, he's a grip in a mafia family, period, full stop. That it's gangsters everywhere. All the people connected to him originally in the first one, from Manafort to Kellyanne Conway to all these people, all have organized crime in their family and their links and their background. But none as much and as big as Donald's. Those are just pervasive. What Fred was into was outrageous.
Yeah.
So, the first thing those people are going to do, if you give them power within the institutions of justice, is they're going to do what any mobster is going to do. Go watch Goodfellas, everybody. What do you think? Let's give those characters here. You're in charge of the FBI right now. What do you think they're going to do? So it's the abuse of power that is we're going to see that's going to be shocking and jarring. And I think we're going to have to figure out how to react to it other than outrage. I really do. As outrageous as it is, we're going to have to figure out other responses.
Yeah, I think you're right. Quickly, because I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Sam Alito said during one of his things, he asked if Pornhub, which is now being banned in certain areas in the South, was like a thing like Playboy where they had essays that were of high literary value.
He did not.
I swear to fucking God, this is a thing that actually happened. Sometimes it's hard to tell, So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sending my Prevail columns right to Pornhub. I'm thinking of maybe I should start like an account there and just have essays.
We could do OnlyFans and Pornhub and just
put
the private content in there. Yeah, maybe Sam Alito will be into it. Maybe he'll pay us some money. All right,
moving on. New topic.
Next topic.
Hit the timer.
I hit it. I remember.
Right. Okay.
So kind of on that theme, in Biden's farewell address, he talked about the oligarchy, as you alluded to. I read the transcript of it because I couldn't. It's another thing I couldn't watch. It was putting me to sleep. I was like, oh, I'm going to sleep. It's like, oh my God, can you just go ahead and put glasses on? Look, I'll do it. Put your glasses on. It's okay. Read. I couldn't.
He has a good face for glasses. He would look good in glasses.
He looks fantastic in glasses. Yeah. We know this. Anyway, okay, that's a side note. So he's talking about this danger of the oligarchy, and he's combining that because it's the technocrats, right? The tech bros, and they're all in the social media and they're all into the controlling the discourse. He's combining that with and owning things like the Washington Post and owning the town square of what used to be Twitter. He's combining that with this idea of how dangerous an oligarchy is when it's coming from, especially, a place where it's about showering the public, the citizenry, with misinformation and disinformation, and this sort of obliteration of truth that's going to happen. So why are those two things connected? Is if we keep pulling on that, we'll see, oh my God, there's so much in here. There's so much in here that we knew already, but it's important to kind of retread and look at. The oligarchy that we're going to be stuck with, and as everybody knows on this show, but just to reiterate, an oligarchy is when the government fuses itself with very rich, not monarchs, right, but arcs, right? People who have concentration of wealth and power into the hands of very few individuals, and they begin to fuse in with the state, and the state starts doling out resources or agencies or natural resources, things like maybe all of healthcare, to these oligarchs to just take over. And it's not necessarily that they privatize it so much. It's that they not only get our tax dollars, but it's re-engineering everything to where they're paid to be rich and to stay rich, not from the businesses that they got rich off of, but by us on behalf of the state. So, it's when it gets into that, the corruption, of course, runs amok. But basically, that's a mafia state. That's a mafia state. If they're above the law, if they're fused with a thug autocrat, which is what he is, and then they have their hands in our cookie jar. It's our cookie jar. It's not a cookie jar they built that we like to purchase cookies from. It's literally our cookie jar. Yeah. So when you think of that and why that's so important to bring up in terms of our democracy, I think it's important to and then I'll get to the propaganda piece of this. It's important to remind people, because they're beginning to forget, or they They get so blindsided by stuff or chaotic with things that they can't be grounded into this facts of who and what we are. These are our agencies. These are our institutions. These are our resources from some 250 years of being a nation that we've spent year by year, election cycle by election cycle, electing leaders, pouring our tax dollars in, putting our efforts into hiring citizens, forming the agencies to which the citizens are hired that have expertise, perfecting our institutions of education so that we actually have people who are educated and qualified so that they can not just invent stuff that helps pouring into our society and lets us lead the world, but they actually have a skill set to run a government that's our government that provides us the things that the government we want our government provide so that we can address the needs of this vast nation. It's the sacrifice of all of our sons and brothers and sisters and mothers and daughters and fathers and grandfathers in the military, in the front lines for first responders and domestically to make sure that we have liberty, that we're safe, that all of this investment, we have invested generation after generation. Every single individual citizen, every single one of us has invested in the nation to build and develop the institutions and the agencies and the resources that we can then use as a nation with the elected officials governing with us, that we have the power to vote in and out depending on how we want to push our nation forward and then share in those resources. It's us. It's not Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, but now with an oligarchy where you also have a mobster, a mafia in there, a mob-oligarchy is what I call that, in that specific position, these people are his lieutenants now, and they're getting our resources as their territory to run and exploit and rape and pillage for themselves. So that's going to affect every single person in this nation in a negative way unless you're in on their coattails as another rich person benefiting from them, benefiting from the head of the, if you're in the crime family, you probably have some protection and you'll have some resources available and allocated for you. If you're not, you're a target. You're a mark.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish I was there behind Joe Biden explaining it that way to people. And how does that circle around and connect? Well, Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, Elon, who created Twitter, Elon Musk, those men coming out of Silicon Valley got their start from the Kremlin's money. Those were the oligarchs over there in that oligarchy that invested in Silicon Valley and were laundering their money that they had pillaged from the Russian people, the Soviet Union, that they had in their resources. They made an investment over here with us in and developed Silicon Valley, especially with those guys, which is why they're also tightly aligned. So how did Russia, as a place that is very, very good at lining up their monarchs and plowing them down with bullets or overthrowing that government, how did the Russian people, why are they okay with an oligarchy after all the revolutions? How do you make it so that works? Well, you have to control that population. So what kind of tools do you need to control the population? You control the population with propaganda, with misinformation and disinformation, and controlling all of the airwaves and controlling everything people read, taking over education, doing all of that. If you can control what people are, the information coming into people and how they are able to manage a discourse with one another, if you can have control over that, then you can suppress the population from rising up against you and throwing you out. So that's how to connect those two pieces that Joe Biden was trying to say and get through to people. And I just wish I was behind him, like that Barack Keenan, or I can't remember which one was the Barack black translator. I wanted to be the mob translator for this guy, of like saying, okay, this is what he's trying to say to you guys. You get an oligarchy with the mafia, you get a mob oligarchy. They're going to come take all your resources. They're going to spend it on themselves. You're going to have to pay tribute if you want to stay into this, but it's going to be very bad for you, because at the end of the day, they're just going to do a bust out and burn down your business, and that's it. Right? And take the insurance money for themselves, and they're out on the run, and they're on to the next victim.
Ramsey outdoor.
That's what you just hand it over to this guy.
Yep.
So how we fight against that is unplugging from all that propaganda and starting your own communication and going, you got to French Revolution this thing. You got to just do it. It's going to have to be an overthrow. Hopefully our votes will work. That won't all become hijacked and be a sham, but there's going to need to, this whole lot of people need to be thrown out. That's
yes.
it.
Yes. Couple of things real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
I'm going to coin a phrase right now.
Yeah.
Okay. That you were talking. I don't think mob oligarchy is quite the right word, although it is a mob. I think when we're dealing with Musk and Zuckerberg and Bezos, I think oligarchy. That's the word.
I like oligarchy.
Oligarchy. Okay.
I like it.
Hashtag oligarchy. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
That's the thing. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
The other thing is, it's been interesting to watch Zuckerberg, particularly the last week. I mean, capitulate like like in the movie when he's like, I'm the CEO, bitch. Well, you're not anymore, are you? Yeah. The relationship has flipped. And it calls to mind what happened in Russia when Putin took over, and he took Khodorkovsky, who was the wealthiest of the oligarchs, and put him on trial. And they put him in like in a cage and everything.
He was in a cage.
Yeah. And again, rule by law rather than rule of law, as Jen Chia taught us, right? So basically, it's like in Goldfinger, in Goldfinger when they're around the table and like, there's a bunch of gangsters there, and the one gangster's like, I'm not going to do this. And he gets up to leave, and then he dies. It's always the same. There's one guy that's like, I'm out. And then that guy gets killed. That's what Putin had watched Goldfinger one too many times and was like, all right, who's the wealthiest one? I don't like his breath. Let's get this guy.
Yeah.
And after he did that, all the oligarchs were like, well, we don't want that to happen to us. So we better.
And he did it a couple years later with Deripaska as well.
Right. Well,
so he didn't put him on trial or anything, but he made a move on him. So this is what it is. But that we have the added little pleasure, the little extra spice in there of these people also being Nazis and white supremacists. So I know there's it's all bringing back a very particular musical in my mind. Let's see.
A musical, you say?
Maybe there's a song.
I don't know. It might be because we are saying goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen to American democracy.
So long, farewell, it's been a solid run. I can't believe that Orange Hitler won. So long, goodbye, the ship alas has sailed. Unlike in Sound of Music, the Nazis have prevailed. So long, farewell, by Joe, what happens now? We do not want to know. So long, farewell, democracy's in doubt. We fucked around, and now we will find out. Goodbye, goodbye.
Good job, Chunk, as always. I just want to say, no one has ever been as excited to remember that he had a kazoo in his guitar case than me. this week.
I love
I'm going to say, I'm like, do I have the kazoo? Please let the kazoo.
We just
be
needed
there.
some more cowbell. I
We
need
needed
some more cowbell.
What we need is more cowbell.
We need some more cowbell.
We always need more cowbell.
Okay, let's get to our guests. We're taking a break from politics. We're going to bring on some of the very best people on the planet and some of my dear, dear great friends from Los Angeles so that we can have a little spot here and talk about what's going on in LA and what it was like to actually be in that firestorm. It's still going on, live through it, get the all the feels and all the information, talking about trying to get to accurate information from folks who are actually there. So let's start with my dear friends, founders and of LA Motorsports, the premier performance driving and sports driving, every stunt you've ever seen, everything. This is their teams of people, creators of the Ultimate Arm. I mean, just everything driving, all the great commercials, all the great everything, and two wonderful, incredible human beings, Roger and Doriana Richmond. Oh, and Doriana, founder of Stone Symbols Jewelry, which is an amazing, amazing jewelry line. So here they are, as my dear friends. Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, at the top of the very highest peak in Malibu. We're going to talk about that in just a second. And I also want to welcome, you guys may remember her or recognize her as Elizabeth Freeman, playing the role of Elizabeth Freeman in The World Beneath. Theatrical director extraordinaire, resident director at the Wilshire Evo, assistant director for the LA Opera, the very fabulous and most gorgeous Judy Johnson. Woo!
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Hello,
Good to see you.
friends. Oh, God, did I get all that right? I think I got all that right.
I think you did.
Okay, awesome. So welcome to the 5-8. You're getting a lot of welcomes from everybody here. And some folks might remember Doriana. She came in for some drops when I had some audio drops when I was doing the flyer size or chats. So that now we get to sort of see you, which is lovely, Doriana. Love seeing you guys. Why don't we start with you guys? Why don't we start with Roger and Doriana? So if you could tell us a little bit about what the last 10 days has been like for you guys, and a little bit about where you are, your property is, the position, just how you're doing. Let's just start with how you're doing, and then we'll get into what you've been through.
Well, we are incredibly stressed, but also incredibly grateful that, we have this incredible property, and I have this man over here and my son and a team of people that helped us through it. And we basically came away from being unscathed. I did send some photos to Greg at the top of the property. I don't know if you got them, Greg, yet.
I'm working on them.
Okay.
He's working
I'm working on them as we speak.
The fire came to the edge of the property. And then these guys, because of, I have also a fire team, they were able to put out the fires up at the top of the property. And if they didn't, the whole canyon was just going to blow up. The whole thing was just going to be a nightmare.
Roger, tell everybody where your property is in Los Angeles. Maybe land us in that, and then we'll pull up we've got some beautiful video footage of it because it's a very special property. It's an event property.
Wait here. We're going to see one of the pictures, I think, in a second.
Oh, great.
Here's one of the pictures of the fire on the mountain.
That's what represents what we were looking at when
That's
fire.
horrifying.
But we are located on the San Fernando Valley side of the mountain range that separates the valley from the coast. So just on the other side of the mountain range above us, the ridge line is Malibu. And when the winds, I have to say, the winds were the major factor in this fire. I can't ever remember wind gusts as what we experienced.
This is your property everybody's seeing right now. And it's 40 acres all around that. Okay, keep talking about the wind. So you were probably, because of where you're positioned, you're right at the peak, at the top, the highest peak, that whole thing.
Well, yes, there's actually a ridge line above us. And for anyone who knows anything about the way fire behaves, it travels slower downhill than it does uphill. So our particular property is benefits from the fact that we're at the bottom of the uppermost ridge. So when the winds came, they were blowing the fire actually
get there.
us, but they ended up going around this ridge, but they were at the top of the ridge. So I was here with the strike team that we call upon. Doriana set all that up, and she was on the outside of this because once we know this from before, once you experience a fire event, everything shuts down. They shut down the
Well, I also had to
electricity.
get the dogs out.
Yeah.
That was my whole thing. You know, I'm not going to leave my dogs just in any kind of, you know, my babies. So we are at 2,800 feet. We're at the very top of the mountain. The fire came right to the edge of our property, and these guys were able to stop it. When I was leaving in the middle of the night at 3 a.m, Stunt Road, which is where our property is.
Yeah, which is always the funniest thing. I'm sorry. So just so it doesn't, if people didn't get it from the set, what I was explaining, if you're a performance driver, like these are probably you guys just have to deal with me embarrassing you. Two of the most experienced and established stunt people in the history of Hollywood. So Doriana and Roger, both of you. I don't want to hear about it. Roger was the first human being to ever test drive an airbag for Lee Iacocca. Like these guys have done it all. So you work, with explosives in your environment for decades, right? And I remember when you were redesigning this property, we want to talk about how special the property was,
right,
or is. I was so worried. I'm like, what about the fight? And what do you mean you have scuba gear going into the pool? Like Doriana's explaining all these things that they were doing. It's just like, we're stunt people, Stephanie. I'm like, oh, I totally forgot. You're stunt people.
Actually, one of the things about that's special about this property, and Doriana, I give her the credit for this, is that we have a lot of clearance around our property. The structure itself, the home itself, is poured in place cement. So it's not going to burn, but you can still suffer tremendous damage. You can suffer smoke damage. The grounds that she's worked so hard on for years and years would all be destroyed. So we installed a fire suppression system. We have 37,000 gallons in our swimming pool, and at the press of a button, that water gets pumped out across the structure.
Oh, right.
So, did you use it?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I had to this time.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But I do want to say one thing. When I left in the middle of the night, going down Stunt Road, there was so many rocks and boulders. The winds were horrific, right?
Yeah.
So trees falling. I was like dodging. My car suffered flat tires. I drove that car to the very end. I couldn't drive it anymore. It was right on the wheels, and it was just, I didn't have any more brakes. So I'm like, okay, fine. And then my sister, came to pick me up at the edge in the middle of the night with the two dogs. So I was able to escape that. But that was pretty terrifying in itself.
Oh, Doriana.
Like rocks, and it's 100-mile-an-hour wind. So we're up at the top. So if it's 100-mile-an-hour winds, it's 120.
Yeah.
A lot of loss as far as trees. And I mean, it looks pretty bad. I can't get my landscapers up here right now, but the property could really use some help. But these guys, my son and him, they saved multiple homes.
Yes.
Multiple homes even past the ridgeline going in off of Shuren. It's incredible what these guys did. I'm so proud of them. And I was, unfortunately not able to save some other homes of my friends. I'm just heartbroken about that.
We have so many friends who lost everything.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh my God.
And if you see Pacific Palisades, it is
And
hard.
it's just horrific. It just makes you cry.
And
cry.
For those who haven't been out in this area, obviously the premier or the most prestigious land to own and to live is along the coastline. And PCH, Pacific Coast Highway borders those homes. And traditionally, the fire department is always able to stop it from going across, jumping the road. Not this time. Not with those winds.
100-mile-an-hour winds is
It's
that's
a
insane.
It's a
Yeah.
blow.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even fight that. You couldn't like these guys had. We have also pumps on the roof. I mean, he couldn't even stand up there. I mean,
I was saying you can't even walk when it's that windy. That's
another
insane.
thing I really want to touch upon, which is super important, is that everyone in Malibu had their insurance dropped. We only
After the Woolsey. Yeah.
we only have California Fair Plan. California Fair Plan only goes up to $3 million. Some of those homes are over $100 million. So think about that.
They'll be able
Think
to
about
replace
the
their
loss.
driveway.
Yeah,
basically.
and who knows from that pot of California Fair Plan.
Yeah.
I don't really know how much is actually there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrific, and I'm so sorry to say it. Like that's why when we got dropped, I said, no, we have to put in a suppression system. We have to do all of this because there's no insurance. No carrier is going to insure anyone in
now
this
it's going to
area.
be worse.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So
Oh God.
big thing, I think, for people that have
Yeah. It can be a ballot issue. You guys California could fight to get that on the ballot because it is a state where there is insurance can be regulated there. And so just like, that could be like increased. It could be, you can elect this into something, but I don't know. It's going to take a lot. Judy, talk to us a little bit.
We're just
Talk to us a little bit about where you live in Los Angeles, because you're in a totally different area of Los Angeles.
Totally different area.
You are a native Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second generation people.
Second generation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
So-
been here a long time.
Yeah. You've been
And
there.
I live in the center of Los Angeles proper. So I'm facing south right now. Malibu and Palisades are that way from me.
okay.
Downtown is that way from me. And Altadena is that way and that way. From
Over
me.
the hill.
East and north.
So you're in downtown LA, you said? No.
I'm in an area called the Miracle Mile
Okay.
and Koreatown.
Okay.
From the place I live, you could see all the smoke coming from Pacific Palisades and Malibu, and you could see all the smoke coming from Altadena. I want to jump on what Roger and Doriana were talking about, the winds.
Yeah.
I was born and raised here. There have never, ever, ever been winds like that. Growing up, we didn't really start talking about the Santa Ana winds until I was in high school. There was maybe a little bit of a warm breeze, but that didn't start until I was about 15 or 16, where we had a real conversation about where these hot winds were coming from. On Tuesday night, the night, the winds were so bad, everyone at my house, nowhere near the fires. And there had been the alerts that there were going to be dangerous high winds in Pacific Palisades. I don't know about Altadena. I was supposed to be in Pacific Palisades on Tuesday.
Oh my God.
We ended up shifting our meeting because my friend who lives there said, let's just do a Zoom because they're saying they may turn off our electricity. And I don't want you guys up here. Our meeting was at 11 a.m. At approximately 11:02, my friend looks up from her computer and out her window, and she goes, and she says, let me show you this to you guys. She turns her computer around and there was a fire and just kind of the smoke going up just like this. And we went, aren't you supposed to get out of there right now? She goes, we're just going to wait for a second. She turns around. We talk at about 11:05. She and her husband went, we're out of here. And we're like, get out of there. And everything's gone. Those winds at my apartment, I'm not even going to talk about what was happening where the fires were. At my apartment, I have a number of single tall standing palm trees, 30, 40 feet. Those palm trees at one of the worst moments that night were all like this. And I thought, oh my God.
Oh my God.
These trees are going to snap. And then I went, oh my God, the fire. There was nothing that was going to happen except the kind of devastation that we're seeing.
Yeah.
That's what was going to happen. Firefighters in the air couldn't get up in that kind of horrible wind. The fire spread so fast. We were all up all night. The smoke was so bad in the morning, coming from both directions. You know, growing up, I just want to give a little perspective. Growing up in this town when I was young, we got our cars when we were 15, and we drove from San Diego to the mountains, to Mount Baldy, to the beach in a day. That's not a dream or something that we just said. These neighborhoods, all of these places that we would go, this is my hometown. My hometown is hundreds of miles wide, hundreds of miles long. My friends grew up in the Pacific Palisades and Malibu. And I'm going to get emotional. My friends and family were in Altadena. Everyone's lost everything. The number of people who I know who've lost everything is on double 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 35 people. Nothing like this has ever happened here. And I love my hometown, and
They talk
through it.
about the lack of water. They talk about mismanagement and all that, but it really comes down to impossible.
Impossible.
Absolutely impossible to prevent what happened.
Impossible.
When it started. Once the fire took hold, that was it.
That was it.
Yeah, I think the thing with fire, I was having this conversation with my mom of, you know, there's earthquakes and, you know, hurricanes and all tornadoes. I grew up in Tornado Alley, then moved out to Los Angeles. And so all these different types of natural disasters that we just people accept that, okay, there's nothing you can do. The nature comes, oh my God, and just pray or whatever. But fire, we've got it in us that somehow we can stop a fire, right? Well, fire is something we can stop. We have resources. Now we're to a point where, with these winds and this environment of this dry, these kind of circumstances, that there's nothing you can do. You've got to put it in the category of in the same bucket as a Category 5 hurricane. There's nothing you can do. It's coming.
Yeah, that's right.
And we are incapable of tackling these things in that moment. I think there's, what you were saying about your house, Roger, and now there's sort of this, okay, there's all this, oh, we'll rebuild. And I don't know, you guys tell us how realistic is, okay, we're going to rebuild everything, because you're there in it.
It's devastating. You just go to the top of the hill and look down. It's mind-boggling as to the amount of loss, the amount of homes and the amount of loss. The canyon itself, the animals, everything is horrific. That's like, and I see them, they're on our property. And I told them,
you've got lions.
Going, get the waterfall going, get whatever it needs. Let's get the animals their water, because I'm so sad for them. I can't even imagine what they've gone through going down my driveway, like all these animals. It's just crazy. So they can come and eat at my house. And drink.
No. You cook them Italian.
I also think that there's a perception that Malibu is for the ultra wealthy, and
let's talk about that.
It's the rarefied life of billionaires, and look, I'm not gonna lie, we have our share.
Yeah.
But Malibu started out as a farming community, and you still see it.
Yeah.
There are still almost shacks that line that used to line the coastline along PCH.
Yeah.
Those are low income people. Those are workers.
Yeah.
Been here for generations, and the fire came and wiped them out. There are literally shacks next to $150 million homes. Didn't care. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
They all got taken out. And right now, all that's left is a view of the ocean. And to rebuild, maybe if you're lucky, your foundation, the pylons that go down are still intact and you can rebuild. But it's going to take it's going to take a decade at least.
At least.
To
At
get-
least.
You're going to have now for sure. You're going to have the kind of wealth where you don't care if you're insured or not, and it all goes down again.
Exactly.
There's
That's
another
the
$100
problem.
million in your
That's-
other back pocket.
That's
So,
the problem.
Most
Yeah.
people don't have that
yeah, it's just
perception.
so it's going to change the culture.
So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's wiping out a generations of people.
And I want to reiterate what Roger's talking about. The people in both of these communities, there are the ultra rich, and then there's everyone who works to keep this whole Southern California area running. People who are hard workers all day, every day. Not that everybody isn't, but people who are working the land. Another piece of history. I think one of the reasons that Los Angeles gets so much hate is because people are like, oh, hey, it's, LA, and it's, the rich people and the studios and this and that. This is an agricultural town.
Mhm.
My high school, when it was built, there was the one building and nothing but orange groves, lime groves, lemon groves, as far as the eye could see. That has not changed. People wonder why LA is kind of different and weird, because we all go to bed with the sunset. Even the places that try to stay up, it's not that. It's
No.
about the agricultural, it's about the land. Everyone's getting up to go to work the next day. Everyone's taking care of their kids and their animals.
Yeah.
There's the ultra rich, and then there's the rest of us.
It's an urban, I was getting so frustrated with, the wildfires, because I could see that getting weaponized, just that term of forests. And it's like, oh my God, this is a city on fire.
Yeah.
The second largest city.
Second largest city in the United States.
United States.
On fire. It's
Cultural
yes.
capital of the world, by the way.
Yeah.
What is it? I'm sorry, I didn't hear
It's
that.
the cultural capital of the world. Not just the United States, the world.
Yeah.
On fire.
Oh,
That's what it
gosh.
is.
So
you know?
how are you doing? How are you doing?
We're very stressed, and
But very grateful.
yes, very grateful, but very stressed. So sad for my friends. So sad.
I know.
Sad for my community. So sad, like for the people of Altadena. These were like really hardworking people, and I know, Judy, I'm going to say this, but Altadena was a great, great city. Was the first city in, I don't know if it was in the United States or in California, that went over the red zone. Do you know
Yep.
what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can explain that better than. That's why for me, when that went up, those are, I can't do it. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah. Altadena was one of the first cities where African American people were allowed to buy homes.
Oh, geez.
The homes in Altadena have been in families for generations and generations.
They lost everything.
In every
And beautiful. It's such
And
a
it's
beautiful
such a
town.
beautiful-
You have no
Altadena
idea how
is so
beautiful this
beautiful.
town is.
it's gorgeous. The architecture, the history, the buildings that are there that are lost, the architectural, the museums, the libraries, the schools that have been decimated.
It was definitely the first city in California. I know that because my sister's a school teacher, and
Yeah.
she tries every day because, we are very sensitive as to what these people have gone through in their
Yeah.
lives. And now this is just horrific. It's
Yeah.
absolutely horrific.
Oh.
It's just
And Roger,
adding-
have you slept?
Here and there.
No.
Here
Yeah.
and there.
So tired.
I'll tell
This
you.
poor guy.
You
Oh my-
hasn't left the house. I don't know if we said that before or on air, but you haven't left the house in 10 days. So
No, and he works like literally 12 hours a day outside trying to water everything, because when you loss of electricity, even though like we have solar and batteries, and it's not the grounds that need to be watered and taken care of, and
Because it actually protects the main
trash.
property.
yeah.
oh my god, it's just the
I
amount.
want to say this too. I mean, you guys did have the private fire and your son's a fire jumping out of the things for fighting fires. So you know what you're doing, more than the average homeowner. You have protected your property to the highest degree because you have that knowledge and that skill set. And you took your resources out, and wasn't just, we're just protecting our house. You understood that you had to protect the ridgeline, or it was gonna take everybody out. Absolutely. So you saved the canyon. Really, Roger, you saved the canyon, and saved as many homes as you could. And I just want to contrast that. I think there's a lesson in that as well, because I know of some other folks that had the private thing, and they just, those guys will do what you tell them to do, right? And so they just saved the one house, and the neighbor's house burned down, but fuck it, we're keeping all the water on, Yeah. So I think there's something that needs to happen there. If we're going to privatize fire first responders in this way, then maybe, it's not just about being altruistic. It was what you had to do to save your house and your community meant sharing those resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roger, you were talking before about, the survivability of your house and what other people might learn from it. Because I think building back, which is obviously going to happen, I think people can look at what happened there compared to what happened elsewhere and learn from it. So what are things that people can learn?
Well, one of the most important things is having clearance around your structure. Another very, very important thing is that if you're going to build a house, make sure that your eaves, which is the part of the roof that actually sticks out past the outside wall, make sure those are solid. Because what happens is that a strong wind will blow embers up. Once the fire gets inside the walls, your house is done. I don't care who you are, but when it starts burning inside the walls, you've lost your life. I would like to see some kind of codes built into our structural demands for building new structure that say that there has to be some kind of fireproofing for the eaves and for the outside walls. We still have so many homes that are built with wood shingles on the outside, for God's sake, that are flammable. Okay, our house survived for a lot of reasons, and I've got to say that luck was not a small part of it either, because when the wind came, it blew the fire around the upper ridge. We put out the fire that was coming down the ridge, but if the winds had been blowing in our direction, it would have been much harder. Plus, a fire performs in a rather predictable way. It burns uphill much faster, and it burns downhill much slower. So if you can build your structure, your home, at the bottom of a ridge or of a mountainside or a hill, you stand a better chance. And
I wouldn't have thought that. That's interesting. Yeah.
So we, a lot of people say leave. We've been through how many fires now?
5 fires.
5 fires.
Okay.
We've lost one house. We lost the decks. I mean, he stayed right to the end. I don't even know how.
I remember that. Was that where you were putting the Virgin Mary? Such a great putting the Virgin Mary on the bed.
I have her. There she is.
More Blessed Mother, Saint Joseph, Saint Anthony, and the symbol of Christ right in the middle of my helipad. Yeah. So I think I got a little bit.
It was a religious experience.
But so 5 fires, and you were saying, Roger, you don't want to leave.
No, I'm a strong proponent of staying.
But you have to have an exit. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to stay, and then God forbid, you have to know what your exit is. Yeah. We know that he can jump in the pool or jump in the pond or jump whatever, or I don't know.
A couple of times I've driven out through a fire event because it was obvious that it was unsavable. But we've never lost a house, and I like to think that it's the embers. Let's be clear. Wind-driven fire throws embers miles. So if you can stay, if you can put them out, you have a better chance of saving your home. But there comes a point where when
It's just
fire
not
is
worth it.
approaching,
Yeah, it's not worth it.
it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth
But
it.
will you leave California?
Yeah.
You don't have to go that far. You just get out. Would I leave California? Would we? Yeah, we would if the opportunity arises. I mean, this property is so special, but I think we would. Yeah, we put in enough. I think we would sell this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so special. Oh my God, I love your property so much.
Do you take checks? No, I'm just kidding. Judy, you're
Well,
looking
I
like you
mean-
want to say something. Judy, do you want to say something?
Yeah.
You know what? I've been reading some of the comments. I think her name was Paulina was talking
Paulina.
about
Paulette?
No, Paulina. Paulette or Paulina?
Oh yeah, we've got a
We have
couple.
both.
Yeah.
I think it was Paulina, and her comment was about the generational wealth that was lost in Altadena. It feels similar. I'm paraphrasing, Paulina. It feels similar to the Tulsa loss.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
I have to tell you, I hadn't even put that in my brain that way because I just can't think. It's so much. So when I saw that, I was like, so thank you for that comment, Paulina. And then it'll come back to whatever I was thinking will come back to me. Just, I'm glancing. I can't remember the other one right now.
No, it's this is what welcome to the show, Judy. This is
Yeah.
I feel like when I was looking at this, it felt like the fire of the library at Alexandria, like that level of destruction, like cultural destruction, like 500 years from now, people will still be talking about this level kind of thing. And I'm here in the Hudson Valley, which a dear friend of mine who is an earth scientist says is the safest place in the United States to be in terms of the natural disaster stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like watching the fires come in LA is so terrifying because it doesn't stop. Like I was in New York City. Oh, go ahead, Judy. You want to say
Matt.
What?
Oh, Matt Fossa, she knows they know each other.
Hi, Matt.
She's waving hi to some of the folks.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Greg.
Yeah.
No.
So
I want to make sure that you have your ability to say something. I feel like it's of all of the natural disasters, like this is like a horror movie. I mean, it's appropriate in some sense that it's in Hollywood because it's like you're waiting around thinking, is the killer coming to get me for like a fucking week? Like at least when a hurricane comes, it's over in 20 minutes,
And the
this is horrifying.
in the house.
And that's why I'm so grateful to you guys for coming on and sharing this because I feel like, not living in LA is people don't know. It's hard to know. It's hard to grasp based on the national coverage because it goes from this thing is happening to look at all this great stuff and the whole in between stuff, which has lasted a fucking week where you guys have barely slept. And it's very easy for me here in New York to be like, oh yeah, that's terrible. I'm going to turn it off and go to bed now. I feel like it's something we need to document. So I'm very grateful to all of you for coming on and talking about this. So thank you so much. And, the visual of using the water from the swimming pool is something I never would have occurred to me, but of course, yes, duh, it's a big pile of water. I don't know. I just good. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. This
Really quickly, can we give a big shout out to the men and women who were on the lines?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pilots who flew helicopters.
Oh my gosh.
Dropping planes.
And the planes. Holy cow.
Oh my gosh.
You talk about us being stunt people.
Yeah.
What they did was above and beyond.
What I saw, oh my God.
Yeah.
What those people did, I mean, they really put their life on the line. Yeah.
It's horrendous.
They were coming really, I mean, I don't even know. They couldn't see. They were just trying to, I don't even know how they did it. It was horrific.
But
it was there's no movie that can. No.
No, they would never get past
Yeah.
it. I mean, that's the other thing is,
Yeah.
you know, you guys are union. This is a union panel here.
Yeah.
You know, the safety and the protocols you have to have in place just to light a match, right? In a controlled interior set. Forget about being outside, because it's so dangerous. And these guys just, I mean, I wanted to do like, I think people did put together some reels of the best drops and like the most, it just, you know, heroes.
And this is, it's not me saying it. Like I can't even drive stick, Doriana. You know.
Oh, Greg.
I mean, I could if I had my life depended on it, maybe, but you know,
gonna have to
have
to get in there and teach you.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. Okay.
Just buy a house on a hill so you can coast. That's
Can you go up the hill and stop though? That's the problem that I always had when I was 17. I've not driven a stick since then. So why are we talking about me driving? The point is that if you say that,
you're talking to literally the best drivers.
I know, no. That's why I'm making a joke.
Yeah, there you go.
This is humor, you see. So if I mean, but seriously though, if you're saying how complicated and difficult the helicopter thing, it's not like me saying it. It's like, you know.
Oh, they have a helipad on their property. They know.
Yeah.
This is like George W. Bush saying, "Hey, it was hard." It's difficult. It's difficult.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, and
Oh gosh. Well,
wow.
thank you guys. Anything else you want to say before we release you? I just think I'm so grateful to see you all. And
yes,
you know,
thank
I
you
was
so
in
much.
that
So grateful.
texting you like crazy. I felt so helpless. I don't know if you have a sense of that, but how much love and attention and
I must say this. We have received emails, texts, phone calls from people I went to kindergarten with. I mean,
that's tough.
most amazing reconnections, and I'm just so sorry that it took this to do that. It's brought me great joy talking to my friends from the past, and so that's great. And we're so glad to be able to talk to you from our home. That's
I know. I'm so glad. As soon as the beforehand, everybody, Doriana, connected, and she wasn't sitting down yet, but I saw the chair and I saw the artwork, and I just burst into tears because I didn't realize how much it was like. Oh, it's safe. You know, just seeing that you guys are safe. We're in the 30 year club now, all of us together. At least. So I just love you so much.
We're all invited to come up.
Everyone should go see the property. Book an event.
It's pretty nice. It's pretty.
I don't know. Doriana's like, no.
We'll give you at least a week's notice. You know,
a week's notice.
Maybe
and
in
then
February
we'll be there for a wedding.
No.
Okay. I love you all. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I barely know you, and I love you too.
Bye.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Stephanie. Doriana, Roger.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Wait, I have to there. Okay, there you are. Okay. I love them all, Stephanie.
Aren't they wonderful?
They're great. That was great. I have to take a minute and process. It's really, it's so sad.
It's so sad. I know, when you were like, and this, obviously, folks that have like these are my dear friends. I'm so grateful that my closest, oldest, dearest friends are all okay. And there's so many people that I love and care for, and they're not, and would never ask them to come on the show.
It's just,
but now because Greg was checking with me. He's like, "How's it going?" I was like, "It's horrible."
It's horrible. I know.
It's horrible. And there was one point where I was checking in with Doriana. I think we were talking on the phone. I remember we were talking on the phone because I heard Roger in the background. He gave me this great quote. He's like, "Fire can't burn the sunset." Like, that was the mode.
Wait. Say that again slower.
Fire can't burn the sunset.
That's a fucking poem.
It's a poem. Oh no, he's a writer. Roger's a writer.
That's a poem right there.
And like, this this idea that here's my friend, like, and I knew what he had been up to, and I knew what he was doing. And then in the middle of all of that trauma and chaos, his brain, because he's so calm, he can just handle this stuff, right? He's just such a healthy person. Could not only articulate that, capture, throw out a poetic line like that, but then the next thing Joy's like, oh, he's down the hill. He's got to go save horses in Hidden Hill. So then he's completely leaving their area because Hidden Hills was on fire. It just had sparked up, and he knew how to get the horses out of there. So I'm like, holy God, this man. So both of them, all of them, extraordinary people.
I can't even find the beam in the wall.
No, you're worthless, but I love you.
I'm useless. It's useless.
You're worthless.
I'm not good with it. My father, God rest his soul, was very good at this, and I got none of it. Just none.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right.
Skipped a generation.
We just need you for the essays.
I think actually kind of skipped two. Anyway, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
All right. So thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you for listening. That was amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah, amazing people. All right, let's move on.
Okay, now we have to talk about more depressing things. More depressing things than the fire that killed LA.
I'm putting the timer on now. I'm putting on the timer.
Put on the
timer.
All right,
so here come all these motherfuckers, right?
I feel like this whole fucking BB thing. I want to start with the BB thing.
Oh no. Okay.
Are you worried?
No, I'm just thinking how awful it is. I had forgotten about him for 24 hours.
As soon as the goddamn hostage, they're not goddamn. As soon as the hostages got taken, I was like, this is bad for Biden. BB is fucking this. It's Putin. It's the whole thing. I could feel it in my bones. The disinformation that was going to flow out of it. I could see it all. And all of it happened. All of it has come to pass. And now this whole like, oh, there's a ceasefire, but not yet. Not yet. No, it's not going to happen until fucking Monday. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we know this. And the world is figuratively on fire. Right. LA is really that because it's just, and we haven't stopped it. I had Christopher Steele on my podcast, as you know.
Yes, I know. And that launched today. That
launched today.
Yeah.
And and he's been screaming about Putin since like 2008.
Yeah.
And no one listens in a position of power, either in Great Britain or the United States. And here we fucking are about to turn over the entire levers of government to one of Putin's gimps. That's where we're at.
So let's talk about, because I think there's a lot of them in there. I don't know. Come and get us. I don't know if we're putting ourselves in.
Oh, fuck them.
Okay. Well,
fuck you, Kosh Patel.
These appointments that were sort of being forced through. The Pete Hegseth, is that how I say his name? He reminds me of. I told you his name is like, it's like Voldemort or something, or it's like it's one of the wizard names of the houses. Like, are you house this or house that? It's House Hegseth, which is just. Are you just sort of the drunk douchebag house, right? Like nobody wants to really be in that house, but maybe you want them on your team when you're playing the stupid games on the flying broomsticks. I don't know, because they work out a lot.
Quidditch, LB. It's called Quidditch, which internal logic makes no fucking sense.
Okay.
One of the many problems with
because we did learn that one of the qualifications, that he's got is that he can do a lot of push-ups. He was asked that by a Republican senator.
How many
push-ups
did he answer? How many he could do?
He did. He answered how many he did that morning.
What did he say?
Morning, and that was part of.
No, how many did he do?
I don't know. 5 sets of 50. Who knows? I don't care.
No, but that's a lot of.
No, I don't care. I don't care. In these hearings, what I wish was happening on the record, like you just said, we documented this. Now we wanted to get, not just our dear friends and people, but people who were really experiencing this moment. To get there, a more fulsome conversation about what this happened, because I do agree with you that this thing in these fires in LA are a part of a turning point that's going to be marked in history. We're going to trace a lot of stuff back to this.
Oh, absolutely.
And we don't even know what it is yet. But there's a way to document the unqualified nature of these people, even if they are going to be forced through, which they are. They're just going to be voted through because everyone's going to do that. So if only we could get the senators to ask them and expose them for basic questions, with basic questions of their total ignorance of the job they're about to inherit, while also highlighting the stakes of that job and how difficult it is. There's just stuff to do there that is not being done which is why I keep turning it off. Because it's so frustrating. So I do think that would be wonderful to see. I don't know, maybe we start writing about that or start posting about that, try to get some attention on it. But I think Mark Cuban even posted about that. Like, oh my God, it's a job interview. Find out if they're qualified or not.
They're
Stop
not
making it
narrator
about
voice. They're not.
Right. Well, here's the thing. We know that character is not, it's off the table. So the more Dems keep trying to pull character back onto the table and ask character questions, right? For what reason? We've got 8 years now of all of this being exposed as all being a farce the whole time, that it matters.
The guy who's the president is a fucking serial rapist.
He's an adjudicated rapist. Character doesn't matter in American politics in this moment. All it's going to do is inflame everything again in a way that's just burning shit down. And I'd like to stop burning our own house down.
That would be nice.
It does matter to ask about qualifications. Remember Joe the Plumber? Remember that Joe the Plumber character?
You love Joe the Plumber.
Here, I want to bring it up on the show. So that Joe the Plumber character that, I don't know who trotted him out. I don't even remember. And like, this is the guy, or the people in the diner, right? Ask those guys sitting in that diner what their job is, right? Let's say it's Joe the Plumber, and say, okay, well, imagine that job that's providing for your whole family, and you've got some employees, and you're complaining about the high, minimum wage. We get it, and the health insurance. We understand all the pressures and everything, but also the expertise of your job. So not only you managing people, and is that part of your job, but actually, what about doing the plumbing work? And what it takes, what kind of knowledge and skill set do you need to have to be a plumber, right? So now imagine that we're going to take a character that from the culture wars, right? We'll take a trans woman who's fabulous in I don't know, school teacher, right?
Okay.
Fabulous school teacher, amazing school librarian, children's librarian. There we go. A trans woman, children's librarian, who's been at the forefront of the culture wars and up there on the school board meetings and everything. And we're going to make her in charge of all plumbing in the United States. That's what Pete Hegseth is, right? Because she has a bathroom. And we're going to ask her, how's your bathroom? Does your toilet flush? Woo! You did it. How many times
sometimes it gets clogged a little, but
this is the equivalency. This is what's happening. And if we talk about it that way, I think it'll get through into it'll expose it as like, oh yeah, you're right. We can't have that. Let's go find someone at least that can do the job. If the conversation had pivoted to that and would stay there and the coverage would stay there, I think we'd all be better off and people would actually be doing their jobs. But I don't have any confidence that anybody is going to pull their head out of their
it's one of these. You're right. Like it's one of these things where Tim Kaine, remember him, the failed VP candidate. Like they were like, I saw these videos on YouTube. Like Tim Kaine owns, all in caps, Hegseth on this thing. So I go click on it because I didn't watch this fucking shit because I'm not. My time is valuable. Also, I was at the coin show, so like I watched this thing and it's like. Tim Kaine is trying to be like, well, you cheated on your wife with another.
Oh, woman. I can't.
And it's like, no one fucking cares. Trump is the fucking he fucks hookers. Like it's just.
Oh, great. Yeah. Matter. All right. We're not going there. No one cares.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
The character stuff is useless. It's so stupid. And Kaine is like, I'm getting him. You're not getting him, Tim Kaine. You're not getting him.
No, you're actually
The
making
gotcha
it
that you
easier for him to get through because
stupid.
it's
Stupid.
being perceived as an attack, and it's being perceived as, oh, this poor guy. You're so that I'd love to get out of all that. I think we need to get out of that lane totally. And I don't know who we is. These people, the people who I'm hoping will show up and do their job, I would love for them to get out of that.
He's a white Christian nationalist who wants to bring back the crusade. Not that anyone would know
that matters
based on the thing. By the way,
yes,
the number of push-ups, 5 sets of 47 because of the 47. I could fucking do that. That's not hard.
No, it doesn't matter. But that doesn't mean you can run the world's most powerful military.
Actually, I think I would be better at it than Pete Hegseth. I'm just saying. And DOD isn't just the military; it's also the R&D stuff. Like it's a huge thing. It's a huge percentage of our investment of our tax dollars.
It's a big thing. I wish they had focused on the tax. Like, this is how much money. Last time you were in charge of this kind of money for anything connected to the military with the veterans, you were accused of fraud. Like, there's things like that.
Oh, right? No. Why would we say that? That would be, like we did our homework or something. Someone needs, I think you need to go to Washington. I know you don't like Washington. You need to go to Washington and you need to be the mob oracle for all these motherfuckers. Oh, too late. It's too late. They're all going to wind up in the gulag. I don't know.
It's too late. All right. So
next year in Finland, as they say. Well, I'll see you in Helsinki.
I'll see you in Helsinki.
We'll be there. Okay.
All right. So we've got our announcements moment.
We do.
Yeah. And we have our announcement, which is we're counter programming the inauguration.
Yeah. That's taking place in the Marriott. I don't know.
It is not.
No, but what's happening, because Gal sent me this, like they've sent out notices to members of Congress that they can't go because there's not enough seats for members of Congress to go to the. Sorry, this is funny to me. To members of Congress,
but just the Democratic members of Congress, right?
All members of Congress. Like they might not be
weird.
Able
I
to
wonder
go.
Who is in charge of the production of it. It's going to be a strange thing.
It's going to be very weird.
It's going to be creepy. And
I hope that look. This is what I think should happen. All the Democrats, all of them, the presidents, the wives, the member, whoever the fuck is there, we're going. They should say, we're going to the inauguration. Oh yeah, we want to go, and then at the last minute they should bail. So that when we see an image of the hall, there's empty seats. That's what they should do. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is not what's going to happen.
No, that's
because there's never been a more spineless bunch of fucking people ever on the face of the fucking earth than these people. These Democrats that were supposed to be a member
of the
Dems.
It's
disgusting. It's disgusting. I am so angry and humiliated and just baffled by all of it. Biden and Kamala and all of them. None of them have a fucking idea. I don't think they have any clue what's going to hit them. They're going to be in a fucking goo. Like,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about. I think they do have a clue. I do. And I think what happened was a paralysis. Clearly, there was a paralysis, and I would love to know more about why. Right? I mean, I think it would be worth it for some type of reporting, or maybe some work into what happened to. Not just, okay, Merrick Garland didn't make it happen, all the stuff. We know all that stuff happened, but what happened to the spirit of the leaders in place? So what, and because it could, I think there was some betrayal in there.
What do you mean betrayal?
Pretty decent reporting of the betrayal. And I just wonder what happened? There's something that happened inside these people that had them just lay down. And it could be It could be also a symptom of, mimetic contagion, which is there's something about the human condition that allows this stuff to happen over and over and over again historically. And so I know it's appalling. It is humiliating. It is disappointing. It is like, it's outrageous. It's all of those things. It's all of those emotions. But there's something that we do to ourselves to get ourselves here time and time again. And the effect that that has on the people who were in a position to just do some things differently. I was listening. There was Charlie Sykes was on today, and he was just ravaging the Dems as well. It's like,
Yep.
okay, please just ravage your own party. I don't want to hear another Republican coming on and screaming about Democrats when their party's completely corrupt.
It's Nazis. They're fucking Nazis.
Yeah. So, but there's something that hasn't really been written about that I found or articulated in a way that illuminates the actual process for the people who let it slip away. And I would like to know what that is. I just feel like there's more powerful forces going on here that have to do with the human condition, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm saying it with many, many words, and I could have just said it with that sentence. But there's a mystery here, a sociological mystery here that can be solved. And maybe until we look at it that way and we solve it, we have to do that so that we can build toolkits, so that so that it's like they didn't know what tool to reach for. They knew the problem. I saw the danger. I saw everything. Like, they weren't Roger. Roger's like, nope, I got to go here to that thing and that hit in the moment. I know it's coming. So
Can we put him in charge? Put them in charge.
Let's put Roger Dorian in charge of
Judy
everything. I swear to God, we'd be so
Put
much
Judy
better
in
off.
charge. We'd be fine.
Judy.
These fucking people.
Yeah, I know. I know. All right. So announcements. Anyway,
stay with this. Can we stay with this for 1 sec? I just the abrogation of leadership in this moment by Joe, by Kamala, by all of the Democrats. Schumer with his fucking bullshit. Fuck that guy. Right? Who's providing leadership? Where's the fucking leader? Where is the Nazis are taking over on Monday? Nazis. Yeah. They're Nazis. Okay. Someone put in the comments, Chicago, they're going to start the mass deportations. Mass deportations.
I knew it. They were going to do LA, but I think the fires,
Mass deportations is a euphemism for genocide. That's what it is. And what's her fuck Noam with the whole like, oh, no, there's no separation. Rod Rosen, whatever the fuck his name is, said as much that there was. That was the policy. And whatever happens with these mass deportations, Chrissy Noam, dog killer, is going to play a major part in it. That's who they've put in charge of that. Someone who kills fucking puppies, man.
It's awful.
A puppy killer is in charge of the mass deportation program. So, like, I hate to be a downer here, but like, I just have a very bad feeling. I don't think people have any fucking idea what's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But Monday is going to be bad. It's going to be bad. They're going to come in strong and hard and do something awful. And if they don't, I'll be overjoyed. But every single thing that they've said, everything they've written, everything they've trumpeted up until that point means mass deportation. Even if it's performative, it's still awful. It still means people are going to lose their homes. They're going to lose their families. They're going to lose their livelihoods, all of it. It's going to be this horrible, humiliating thing. And it's an internal, internecine wound. And Putin is going to be laughing. Meanwhile, we should be just fucking hitting that guy.
I know.
Because 800,000 motherfucking Russian soldiers are dead in Ukraine.
I know.
800,000, half of which in the last year. We can't take this guy out. If we can't take this guy out, maybe we deserve to fucking die off as an American.
No, great. Yeah, we can't, but no one deserves Putin. No one. I don't know.
Then take him out.
Okay, I gotta pull. I'm pulling us out of this.
Pull us out of this, for
I'm
God's sake.
actively pulling us out of this. Okay?
My back hurts. I blame my back.
I'm pulling you out
Actually,
of
my
this.
back
We've
feels
got
better
8 minutes for our final segment.
Wait, we didn't do announcements.
We did do announcements, and then you went back to the thing.
No, do announcements.
Counter programming on Monday.
We did.
When is it? 11? Are we starting at 11? We'll send it out.
11
to everybody
a.m. Monday.
Yeah.
Whether we're together or not.
We'll see whether we're together. We've got stuff going on in households of stomach stuff, and then
also we want to say
blast coming. So I don't
real
know.
Quick, we want to say,
yeah.
Friend of the show, Rosanna Arquette, has proposed an idea about the benefit, right? To turn the Oscars into a benefit.
Yes.
Written up in Variety. It's a good idea. Everyone should go check that out. I think something is going to happen along those lines. I really feel like Hollywood will figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And you know.
Yep.
All right, I'm done.
Let's go. Go our row.
We're running late today. You know what? This is the last episode.
It is.
Before
I mean, we might not have it. I don't know what they're going to do with our YouTube channel. We'll see. Who wants YouTube? Oh, it's that Surge guy.
I'm going to Berlin in the end of January, and I may not come back. I don't know.
Oh my gosh! No, we're going to be here. We're going to be here, and we'll be
I'm
here.
going to be here no matter what. But I may not.
And we'll send out a thing. We'll post it. We'll post the time, and we'll post the link, and we'll do the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be. We'll figure it out as we go.
We'll figure it out as we go, like Christy Noem. Okay. All right. 8 minutes left. Let's just pivot. I want to pull you out of this. Pivot to some positive things. So, you know, we can't, it is a new era. It doesn't have to be 1,000% horror, Nazis, blah, 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 blah. It just doesn't. It's a new era. So what happens when, speaking of the cultural center of the universe, in Los Angeles, and being people who are writers and artists as for a living, you know, great art does have a way of surfacing in these moments. So we want to talk about some things that we could say hello to as we're saying goodbye to things that we loved and care about. I think we can say hello to new art. Hello to new relationships will come out of this. We got our relationship, our friendship from the whole community here is because of all this bullshit. Yeah. What else? I'm grateful for it. What else did you want to say hello to? Yeah. New season of Severance, baby. New season of Severance. Okay. I have to say, for people who don't know, Severance is about like the people have a implant in their brain. A neurochip. Right. Like Elon Musk in their brain. So when they go to the office, they're like a totally different person. And they don't, that's the innie. The person in the office, and they have no idea who they are on the outside. They have no recollection. Two different people. And I felt like I watched the first episode of season 2, which, again, my wife has seen season 1 12 times, 13 times. No joke. She's obsessed with this shit. You can see behind me here, macro data refinement, right? Right. That's an element from the show. Yeah. It's interesting to have this come up at this time because I feel like we all want to sever ourselves and not remember what happened in the 4 years. Right. Okay. So new season of Severance. What else is new? What else is new? What else can we say hello to? Oh, well, I don't know if you knew this, but Trump has named some Hollywood ambassadors. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So it's Sylvester Stallone. God. It's Mel. It's anti-Semite extraordinaire Mel Gibson. And it's super duper movie star John Voight, who most people couldn't pick out of a police lineup. But anyway, John Voight is also there. Yeah. Those are the 3 Hollywood ambassadors. I wanted to ask you about this. Your thing about like they shit on what is holy.
which is one of the most prescient and on point things anyone's ever said in my lifetime, by the way. I can't, like, you're so on point with that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Trump doesn't like that Hollywood doesn't like him, and he wants to fuck up the Oscars. He wants to fuck up the Golden Globes. He wants to fuck up entertainment so they honor him. Am I wrong? What's going on?
No, you're right. I mean, it's in the the thing about him and Elon and Mark Zuckerberg and this sort of that they're all the same boy.
Oligarchy.
The oligarchy. They're all the same boy. It's why when oh God, now I can't even remember his name. Coach Walls said
Tim Walz
said, you know, it's weird that it got under their skin like nothing else. So, you know, it's all about not being included in the thing that they can see and observe. I don't think these are folks that are like fans of something, but I think they're the kinds of people, and men especially, who are watching that other people want this thing. Right? Want to either be famous or be talented or love this movie. I don't know that they understand the movie, but they can see, oh, it's cool. People think that's cool. I want people, and they're narcissists. So it's like, I want them to think about me. Steve Jobs got up there and he was like blowing everybody away for years, right? He's like, oh my God, this guy, and he's the genius. And so it's like, it's a mimicry. These are men that mimic and want. And then they want it to be theirs. And if you don't give them the attention that they need for that, then they have a grievance. Or if they don't feel like they're included, then they have a grievance. And then everything's about vengeance. And so that's just the brain that they have. Yeah. So, let me pick 3 toxic dudes that come to, John Voight's been a long time Donald friend.
Poor Angela.
Stuff going on there. Sorry.
We all have bad people in our family that
stuff going on there. No,
poor Angelina.
Those guys.
I feel bad.
I'm talking, and then Sylvester Stallone is a big Mar-a-Lago guy. He loves going to Mar-a-Lago. And Mel Gibson is, Mel Gibson.
Radical Catholic, but different than the Leonard Leo radical Catholic.
Different than the Leonard Leo radical Catholic.
But still crazy.
Yeah.
Still crazy.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not going to knock those guys for the art that they've created. They've created so, but there's also there's a grievance with some of these men. Like James Wood had a huge grievance that, I can't get hired because the liberals will hire. You can't be a Republican in Hollywood and all this stuff that predates Trump even. And so I think there's a little bit with this of, we're going to come in and tell everybody, we're going to pick the projects and we're going to tell you, it's not this whole, it's just this old wound that doesn't even exist anymore. The first time I went to Netflix's office, I was a very much working writer, writing movies, and Netflix had just come in to Hollywood, to what we call Hollywood, which isn't Hollywood, but and I went to their office. Now I'm like working at Warner Brothers and I'm working at Paramount, Sony. And I go, I'm on these lots and I'm in like, it's like, there's history and, real film libraries. And I go to Netflix and it's like, it was Silicon Valley. I'm like, I'm in a data company. And they're talking to me about demos and their algorithms. And really, truly, it's like that. No, Barry did a little bit of that comedy. And then God forbid you go over to Amazon. Then I went over to Amazon like the next year, pitching cycle, whatever. I walk in it because Netflix came first and then Amazon came a little bit later. And there was like people going through things with buy rent. And it's like, what is this? You're in like an office building. Talk about severance. It was like that. It was like, I'm going from these storied lots, right? Of like, and the buildings I'm writing in and the people I'm working in are like, this we're the greatest movies of all time. We're written and created. And then you go and then you're in an office. You're in a Silicon Valley office.
The difference is that I like all the.
That's when it was over. That's to me. That was like, that's it. This is like I'm pitching to people who are like from San Francisco. Like, what the fuck? It was weird. it was over
San
that.
Francisco may as well be Boise when it comes to Hollywood stuff. Right?
It's
That's just another place that isn't Hollywood. Fuck.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm I was at the very tail end of the old world.
Yeah, it was nice while it lasted. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great while it lasted. Yeah.
But anyway, with to wrap this up, there's a
Mhm.
lot I think we need to look for and pay attention to and cherish all of the things we want to say hello to. Maybe there'll be a great migration of fabulously talented people into some new and old pockets of art and culture, and helping to sort of revitalize some areas in this country and some communities. And that would be wonderful. I don't see anything wrong or anything bad that can come out of that. Basically, what I'm saying is maybe I can convince all my friends to come here, which I've been doing every day. Come here, come here. So, we will. There is a saying. There is our saying.
Oh, what's our saying? I was looking for something.
Yeah, we'll get through this.